Now let us see what is intelligence. People who believe that intelligence is mainly inherited and don't see the usefulness in special educational opportunities for the underprivileged, while people who believe that environment plays a large role in intelligence tend to support such programs. The importance and effects of intelligence are clear, but intelligence does not lend itself to easy definition or explanation. Therefore, intelligence is the aggregate or global capacity of an individual to act purposefully, to think rationally, and to deal effectively with his environment. Intelligence includes the ability to benefit from past experience, act purposefully, solve problems, and adapt to new situations. Charles Spearman believed that there is a general intelligence factor or G factor undermining one's ability, or factor that is, those who excelled in reasoning also did quite well in all other areas such as spatial ability, verbal memory, and word fluency. People with Savant syndrome excel exceptionally in one ability or but has limited mental abilities. That is, a 12-year-old who has difficulty in speaking but can compute numbers as fast as a calculator. Thus, contrary to the G factor, Howard Gardner believes an individual has multiple intelligences, that is, independent of each other. Also supporting the multiple intelligence theory is the existence of emotional intelligence. It means the ability to manage, express, understand, and perceive emotions. People with high emotional intelligence do better in social situations and thus are more successful in careers, marriages, and parenting. Thus, emotional intelligence is independent, if not negatively correlated, with academic intelligence. With modern brain imaging techniques, researchers still fail to find significant correlation between head size and intelligence. A high performer brain are less active, quick, and registers information with more complexity. One explanation for this could be that people with faster cognitive processes acquire more information. Now, I would like to explain Savant syndrome. It is observed in some individuals diagnosed with autism or mental retardation, is characterized by exceptional talent in one area of functioning such as music or mathematics, and poor mental functioning in all other areas. Now, let us see the origins of intelligence testing. Francis Galton had great enthusiasm in measuring human traits that lead to the eugenics movement. His goal was to quantify human superiority by means of tests on strength, reaction time, sensory precision, and even head size. Despite his efforts, no correlation whatsoever was found between general mental abilities and the traits. Alfred Binet, founder of modern intelligence testing, sought methods to identify students who would have difficulties in regular classes by measuring one's mental age. If an individual performs the way a typical 10-year-old would, then his mental age is 10 years old, regardless of real age. Truman developed the current Stanford Binet intelligence test. The test measures intelligence quotients, that is, mental age divided by chronological age multiplied by 100. If an individual is 12 years old and his mental abilities are the same as those who are 12 years old, then his IQ is 12 divided by 12 multiplied by 100 equal to 100, the average IQ of a person. The Stanford Binet test is being applied to many people of differing races. The result, Truman realized the reason why non-Anglo-Saxons did worst is because the test measures not only their innate abilities but also education and cultural distinctiveness. First one is aptitude test, which predicts one's future performance or ability to learn new skill, that is college entrance exam. Second one is an achievement test, which assesses the current knowledge or what one knows, that is final course examination and chapter test. The third one is most widely used intelligence test is the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale. It has 11 subtests and gives a verbal score, a performance score and an overall score. Large differences between the verbal and non-verbal scores indicate possible learning difficulties. Now let us see dynamics of intelligence. Before age 3, except for extremely impaired children, casual observations and intelligence tests predict future aptitudes minimally. But by age 3, performances on intelligence tests begin to predict adolescent and adult scores. By age 7, intelligence tests become more stable and increases in stability with age of child. Now let us see what is mental retardation. It is a condition of limited mental ability as an intelligence score of below 70 and produces difficulty in adapting to demands of life, varies from mild to profound. Only 1% of population meets criteria and males outnumber females by 50%. One cause of mental retardation is Down syndrome. It is a physical disorder caused by an extra chromosome in one's genetic makeup. Now let us see what is creativity. The ability to produce novel and valuable ideas. Those who are freed from concern of social approval demonstrate better creativity. IQ scores of identical twins are virtually the same as though one person taking test twice, whereas IQ scores of fraternal twins are less similar. Fraternal twins who are no more genetically alike than any other sibling but are treated more alike tend to score more than other siblings. Adopted children score more similar to their biological parents than their adopted parents. Now let us see what is heritability. Proportion of variation among individuals that we can attribute to genes. Heritability of trait may vary depending on range of populations and environments studied. McVicker Hunt and psychologist tested the benefits of responsive caregiving. He trained caregivers to play vocal games with infants in which first they imitated babies babbling, then led babies and finally began to teach them sounds from Persian language. Results were all 11 infants could name more than 50 objects and body parts by 22 months. Hunt's experiments shows importance of environment on children's intelligence. Racial groups differ in average scores on intelligence tests. Girls are better spellers and are equal or surpasses average boy in mathematical grades, but boys tend to score better in mathematical problem solving. David Gary and Erwin Silverman speculate that skills came from evolutionary perspective where males tend to be stronger in skills that their ancestral fathers needed, such as tracking prey and navigating way home, whereas females were enhanced in keen memory for location of edible plants by their ancestral mothers. Researchers discovered that some people are better emotional detectors than others, while women are better at it than men. Some speculate that through evolution, where ancestral mother learned to read emotions of infant and may have further being fueled by cultural tendencies to encourage empathetic skills. Characteristics of people with regard to their intellectual activities and abilities indicate that the intelligence cannot be a single function or capacity. There must be various components for intelligence. Psychologists have attempted to analyze these components, which has resulted in the development of different theories. These theories have been grouped into two categories, namely factor theories and cognitive theories. On the basis of factor analysis, psychologists have developed their own theories. Some of the important theories are Thurstone multifactor theory. Thurstone rejected the general theory of intelligence and instead presented his own theory. He stated that the human intelligence includes 7 primary mental abilities. Though these abilities appear to be different, they are related to each other. They are spatial ability, perceptual ability, numerical ability, verbal comprehension, word fluency, memory and reasoning. Now let us see what is Spearman's two-factor theory. According to Spearman, intelligence is the ability to think constructively. Spearman proposes that intelligence consists of two abilities, namely G, it is known as general ability, S, it is known as special ability. General factor or ability works in conjunction with special ability. In all intellectual activities of the human being, along with the general ability, there will also be a special ability which is related to such action. Now we will see what is multi-factor theory of intelligence. According to Thorndike, intelligence is not a single factor like general intelligence, rather it is a combination of multiple factors. These factors include abstract intelligence, concrete intelligence, social intelligence. Thorndike states each factor is an independent element and hence it is not possible to combine all these elements. Last, Guilford's tridimensional theory. Guilford developed a model of intelligence in which he explained that every intellectual activity can be described in terms of 3 different basic dimensions such as operations. It means the act of thinking. Content means the terms in which an individual thinks like words, symbols, and products. It means the ideas one develops. He has proposed his tridimensional theory of intelligence represented by cubical model. This model is provided with 120 primary abilities and is combination of 4 contents, 5 operations and 6 products, totally 120. The comprehensive idea of the primary mental abilities included in intelligence. However, Guilford has expanded his cube-shaped model of intellect to include 150 factors, which includes 5 contents, 6 products and 5 operations. For an example, a child is asked to determine the day of the week on a particular date with the help of a calendar. The task involves operations like convergent thinking, memory and cognition. In carrying out these operations, he has to make use of the contents. In this particular case, he will make use of semantics, that is, reading and understanding of the printed words and figures indicating days and dates of a particular month in the calendar. By carrying out mental operations with the help of the contents, he will finally arrive at the products. The day of the week to which the date in question refers represents the factor known as relations. These theories are otherwise called process-oriented theories. They focus on intellectual processes, the patterns of thinking and reasoning in people used to solve problems. These theories consider intelligence as a process which helps to deal with problems and to find out the answers. They are called cognitive theories because of their focus on fundamental cognitive processes. The important theories are Cattell and Horn's theory. In this theory, Cattell and Horn have proposed in which they have distinguished two types of intelligence. First is fluid intelligence. This is an innate, biologically or genetically determined capacity and not influenced by education or training. This capacity helps the person in learning and problem solving. This is the ability which is useful in understanding and adjusting to strange situations. This ability develops fully in people by the end of an individual's adolescence. Next is crystallized intelligence. It is a learnt or acquired capacity. It is influenced by environmental factors like education, training, culture, knowledge and learned skills. This ability can be observed in the behavior of a person while dealing within culture, traditions in society, his knowledge in worldly affairs through the skills in handling machinery and tools. Generally, it continues throughout life. Though both types of intelligence are independent, they are interrelated. Now, let us see what is information processing theory of intelligence. This theory was proposed by American psychologist Robert Sternberg. He distinguished between information processing components and meta components. Components are the steps to solve a problem and the meta components are the basics of knowledge that one has to know how to solve the problem. The information processing is like a process of solving a problem by an individual in which he proceeds to solve a problem which he comes across, gathers the necessary information and makes use of this information for completing the task. It includes the following steps: identifying the relevant information, that is coding, drawing the necessary inferences, it means inferring, establishing relationship between past and present experiences, it is known as mapping, applying the inferred relationship, which is application, justifying the correct solution, justification, provide the correct solution, it is a response. Now, let us see what is Jensen's theory of mental functioning. Arthur Jensen proposed this theory. According to him, the functioning of one's mind depends upon the type and degree of intelligence one possesses. Jensen splits intelligence into two types of ability: associative abilities and cognitive abilities. Associative ability is the capacity to learn, identify, discriminate, remember and reproduce the learnt information and experiences. On the other hand, cognitive or conceptual ability is concerned with higher order thinking, reasoning, analyzing and problem solving. Associative abilities are related to biological maturation and the cognitive are dependent on education and culture, leading to more individual differences. Now, let us see the 8 types of intelligence. In the 1980s and 1990s, psychologist Howard Gardner proposed the idea of not one kind of intelligence, but 8, which are relatively independent of one another. These 8 types of intelligence are linguistic. It means spoken and written language skills, logical, mathematical, it related to number skills, musical, it relates to performance or composition skills, spatial, it is the ability to evaluate and analyze the visual world, bodily kinesthetic, it means dance or athletic abilities, interpersonal means skill in understanding and relating to others. Intrapersonal means skill in understanding the self. Last, nature, skill in understanding the natural world. Gardner believes that each of these domains of intelligence has inherent value, but that culture and content may cause some domains to be emphasized over others. Critics of the idea of multiple intelligences maintain that these abilities are talents rather than kinds of intelligence. Robert Sternberg proposed a triarchic theory of intelligence in the 1980s and 1990s that distinguishes among three aspects of intelligence. First one is componential intelligence. It is the ability to assess by the intelligent test. Experiential intelligence, it is the ability to adapt to new situations and produce new ideas. Last, contextual intelligence, the ability to function effectively in daily situations. Now, let us see what is emotional intelligence. It is an ability that helps people to perceive, express, understand and regulate emotions. Other researchers maintain that this ability is a collection of personality traits such as empathy and extraversion rather than a kind of intelligence. To be successful in one's life, a person needs to enhance their emotional intelligence. The psychometric approach to intelligence emphasizes people's performance on standardized aptitude tests. Aptitude tests predict people's future ability to acquire skills or knowledge. Achievement tests, on the other hand, measure skills and knowledge that people have already learnt. Intelligence tests can be given individually or to groups of people. The best known individual intelligence tests are the Binet-Simon scale, the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale and the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale. Now, let us see the Binet-Simon scale. Alfred Binet and Theodore Simon devised this general test of mental ability in 1905 and it was revised in 1908 and 1911. The test yielded scores in terms of mental age. Mental age is the chronological age that typically corresponds to a particular level of performance. For an example, a 10-year-old child whose score indicates a mental age of 12 performed like a typical 12 years old. Now, let us see the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale. Lewis Terman and his colleagues at Stanford University created the Stanford Binet Intelligence Scale by expanding and revising the Binet-Simon scale. The Stanford Binet yielded scores in terms of intelligent quotients. The two problems with the intelligent quotient approaches are: first, the score necessary to be in the top range of a particular age group varies depending on age. Second, the scoring system had no meaning for adults. For an example, a 50-year-old man who scores like a 30-year-old cannot accurately be said to have low intelligence. The Stanford Binet was revised in 1937, 1960s, 1973 and 1986. Now, let us see what is Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale. David Wechsler published the first test for assessing intelligence in adults in 1939. The Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale contains many items that assess non-verbal reasoning ability and therefore depends less on verbal ability that does the Stanford Binet. It also provides separate scores of verbal intelligence and non-verbal or performance intelligence, as well as score that indicates overall intelligence. Now let us see what is group intelligence test. Individual intelligence test can be given only by specially trained psychologists. Such tests are expensive and time consuming to administer, and so educational institutions often use tests that can be given to a group of people at the same time. Commonly used group intelligence test is Raven's Advanced Progressive Test and Group Intelligence Test. Next, biological test of intelligence. Some researchers have suggested that biological indices such as reaction time and perceptual speed relate to intelligence as measured by IQ test. First one is reaction time. The amount of time a subject takes to respond to a stimulus such as by pushing a button when a light is presented. Next is perceptual speed. The amount of time a person takes to accurately perceive and discriminate between stimuli. For example, a test of perceptual speed might require a person to determine which of two lines is shorter when pairs of lines flash very briefly on a screen. How the culture is going to influence the intelligence. Many psychologists believe that cultural bias can affect intelligence tests for the following reasons. First, tests that are constructed primarily by white, middle class researchers may not be equally relevant to people of all ethnic groups and economic classes. Second, cultural values and experiences can affect factors such as attitude towards exam, degree of comfort in the test setting, motivation, competitiveness, rapport with the test administrator, and comfort with problem solving independently rather than as a part of a team effort. Last, cultural stereotypes can affect the motivation to perform well on tests. Now let us see what is standardization. Intelligence tests are standardized, which means that uniform procedures are used when administering and scoring the test. Standardization helps to ensure that people taking a particular test all do so under the same conditions. Standardization also allows test takers to be compared, since it increases the likelihood that any difference in scores between test takers is due to ability rather than the testing environment. Norms and percentile scores. Researchers use norms when scoring the tests. Norms provide information about how a person test score compares with the scores of other test takers. Norms allow raw test score to be converted into a percentile scores. A percentile score indicates the percentage of people who achieved the same as or less than a particular score. For an example, if someone answered 20 items correctly on a 30 items vocabulary test, he receives a raw score of 20. He consults the test norms and finds that the raw score of 20 corresponds with a percentile score of 90. This means that he scored the same as or higher than 90% of the people who took the same test. Next, standardization samples. Psychologists come up with norms by giving a test to a standardization sample. A standardization sample is a large group of people that is representative of the entire population of potential test takers. Next, let us see what is reliability. Most intelligent tests have good reliability. Reliability is a test ability to yield the same results when the test is administered at different times to the same group of people. Otherwise, it is known as trustworthiness of a test. Validity. Validity is a test ability to measure what it is supposed to measure. Although intelligence tests cannot be considered good measures of general intelligence or general mental ability, they are reasonably valid indicators of the type of intelligence that enables good academic performance. I hope that now all of you would have learnt the definition of intelligence, theories of intelligence, emotional intelligence, and influence of culture and standardization of tests. Thank you for your patient listening.